Many lives are permanently changed as a result of distracted driving crashes. In 2014, Mike Myers' oldest daughter, Ilana, was just 18 years old when she was killed in a crash while driving back home from Texas Tech University. Since then, Mike has been a dedicated advocate for safe driving, telling Ilana's story to encourage others to not drive distracted and to always wear a seatbelt. He's participated in our Talk Text Crash campaign outreach events, and we appreciate his being here today to share his story with us. Mr. Myers, thank you for joining us and sharing your story.
One, two, three, 4, 5. 5. That's about how much time went by when my daughter, Ilana Noel, looked away from the road, panicked, hit her brakes hard, turned the wheel, flipped the car, and went off the road. Ilana died. Ilana died by the side of the road. Ilana died alone. She died without friends, without family. She was dead before anybody got to her. As a father, I could not help her. And as a father, I hear her screams, and I hear her silence. Ilana was just coming home, something that we all do every day. She got in the car, and she was coming home. Ilana was a freshman at Texas Tech University, and she was excited to come home. She had a modeling job to come back for the weekend, and she always had told them no. She was too far away. She had studies to do. But this time around, she was excited because she had just been in a photo shoot, and she was going to be in a major designer show the following week. She had talked to her teachers, her professors. She had worked everything out. She talked us into it and said, I'll be home, this will be great. And I had a wonderful talk with her the night before, and I was so impressed by the fact of how she saw how college was helping her for her future. One of the texts that we received was, as she was leaving, was, let's do it. It was the last one we received. After her death, we saw on her phone as well a text that said from a friend, I'll Snapchat you to keep you from being bored on your long drive home. It was a late afternoon, and we were all excited. It was a beautiful day. Just dropped off one of our daughters at school. And we had a state trooper come to our house. The state trooper told us that instead of Ilana coming home, she wasn't going to make it. If you had met Ilana, and you can see from these pictures here, you would see that Ilana was full of life. She enjoyed everything that she did. And if you were her sisters, you may simply have said, Ilana's just loud. But Ilana, if you had just met her, you might have gotten the false impression of who she was. Ilana was the commander of the JROTC program at Bowie High School here in Austin. She was tough. She was a leader. She always knew that she would be a leader. She was an A student. At Texas Tech University, she was pre-med and a business major. She loved playing sports. Even though she was thin, you would think, well, she'd be an easy picking at lacrosse until you said something smack to her, and she came at you at full force. I once saw her score 6 goals in one night on a cold, rainy night because she was not too happy with the other team. Alana could be goofy. She one time put a suction cup on the middle of her forehead to see what it would do. It worked. She came running down the stairs laughing and screaming. She was like 15 or 16 and not 10. But Alana could also be caring and passionate. She loved doing volunteer work. She loved doing community service. We found out after her death that she used to bring treats and food to nurses at a local hospital, the same nurses that later took care of her mother, my wife, as she battles cancer. Alana also had volunteer time at a local nonprofit that took care and worked with children that were abused. And her job was to work with the animals. We found a little video of her afterwards, Alana talking to all the animals that she was taking care of, and you would just smile. She once told a friend at school at Texas Tech that nobody really knew her, and her friend just laughed and said, "What do you mean? When we walk across the field, people say, 'Hi, Alana.'" She had already had dinner with the president of the university, and she was named Student of the Month. She had everything going for her. She had everything going for her. Last week, I had the pleasure to join the City of Austin Police Department as part of their distracted driving operation. And one of the things that I saw during that trip that morning was how many different people are using their phones while driving. They're texting, calling, using the right hand or the left hand, sometimes putting the phone in the middle of the steering wheel and trying to use the phone, look things up, and steer at the same time. And sometimes without using any hands on the wheel. We have this idea or this myth, as we were just hearing a little bit about earlier from the speaker, that we can drive and talk at the same time, that we can drive and text sometimes at the same time, and it's obvious that we can't. We heard about the 100,000 accidents already in 2015 and almost 500 people that died in 2015, and that doesn't include this year or the year before or the year before that. It's time for it to stop. It's time for us to act. It's time for us to end distracted driving. We need a call to action. We need a statewide hands-free bill throughout Texas, from El Paso to Houston, from Sherman to McAllen. We need a consistent action, a consistent bill statewide so that everybody knows that you should not have a phone in your hand while you are driving. We know and we've seen that it doesn't work. We have lost too many loved ones. A year and a half ago at the Capitol, there was a bipartisan bill, a no texting bill. It had a lot of support, and many of you probably testified for that bill. There were first responders. There was family, heartbreaking testimony. It went through the House and went through the committees, but then at the Senate, the vote was blocked by a handful of a few state senators. They didn't even want it to have it for vote. As a Texas citizen, as a father, as a parent who has lost a loved one, a daughter, I find that shameful. I find it absolutely shameful. A statewide bill can act as that cornerstone to help us move forward to reduce and maybe eliminate the deaths that we have on our Texas roads. It builds upon the great education and outreach efforts that TxDOT has already been doing. But we need to move forward. So I ask you today, as you're here today, remember Alana. Remember and listen to the speakers. Look for ways to take action here in Texas. Remember to reach out to your state representatives and your state senators and say, we need a hands-free bill here in Texas. It's not the only thing that will solve the problem, but it provides that cornerstone for us, as all of us, to help. We all know that when we are on our roads and highways, we are all dependent on each other for safety. Alana made a few mistakes that day, all within a few seconds, and I don't know why or how. I wasn't in the car. And there are days I wish I was. It can happen to anybody. It happens within just a second. Alana did not wake up that day and say, this is my last day. And neither did any of the other individuals who have lost their life. They were just simply getting in their car and maybe going to work, going to the store, seeing a friend, or like Alana, she was coming home. She was just coming home. Alana didn't die from some exotic disease, from gun violence, an act of terrorism, drugs. She did what all of us do, what all of us have done this morning. We got in a car and we came here. Alana was a bright star. Alana would often, I think, could see that light when there was only darkness. We've heard so many great stories about things that Alana did for others. She was your backbone. And we lost a great person, a wonderful, beautiful daughter. So it's time for us to see that same light. We need to move forward and act to pass a statewide bill. Alana would like to see that happen, I believe. I know her sisters do as well. We miss everybody who has lost a loved one. I know you miss Alana. I miss Alana. We all do.